Okay, what the fuck did I just read?
Hey, you're watching Fat Man DD1, you dingus. Whatever he said.
Yo, world, this is your boy, Fat Man DD1. I'm using the avatar again because, well, it's hot. I don't want to set up my camera, and why the fuck not? So we're gonna get into talking about Loki. Yeah, let's just get into this article. This is your boy, Fat Man DD1. Check it. We're talking about Loki, and for some reason, him loving himself. Listen. Now, I've watched Loki up to episode 3. If you're anybody out there who wants to watch Loki and you want to get into the show, just wait until all the episodes are actually out there to watch it, because it's more enjoyable that way. I'm not gonna lie to you, Netflix has spoiled me, but the way to watch shows is to binge watch them as quickly as possible. You get all the information right then and there, and you just kind of are able to keep up in the conversation. Not gonna lie, this Tom Hiddleston kills it. He kills it, right? He brings his fucking A game every time. The other actress in episode 3 with him don't really like her acting, and I feel like she can't stand next to Hiddleston as Loki, which, spoiler, this is a Loki from a different dimension. And the dialogue in episode 3 was just as it was, dialogue. Him probing her trying not to give him any info or probe him a little bit. Since one of the writers came out and kind of said, oh, Tom Hiddleston is bisexual. In comics, he's actually pansexual. It doesn't matter. His sexuality, who he wants to, giggity with, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And even in real life, some people, you can judge people just based off their fucking convictions instead of their fucking sexuality. And if you judge someone off their sexuality or who they want to pound, I don't really give a fuck. That's you, and you need to work on that. But she made it very important that she wanted to make sure that everyone knew he was bisexual. And because it means a lot to her, and it will mean a lot to the character Loki. I'm like, no, it fucking doesn't. You're just reflecting yourself onto him. Which in this article, if it says Loki's falls in love with himself, it makes me think that you're going to basically take yourself and love yourself. Now, I don't know how or why they're doing this, but I don't want a love story. This ain't a love story. This is Loki figuring out the Time Lords, figuring out his life, and just involved with another Loki's life, and then all other Lokis from different dimensions. I fuck with that on the grounds that it makes sense. I don't want to see this a thing. I don't want to see this a couple. I don't want to see a baby come out of... This is like incest. This is loving yourself to the next level, and I don't want to see a relationship between him and her. I want to see him try to figure out himself more and probe himself. Even if they're both Loki, they both live different lives outside of each other. They may both be the same person, but I don't want this to be a thing. Fuck no. Because it doesn't add anything to the story, and it feels like it may take away. But that's just me. I don't know how you feel about it. Let's just jump into the article.
That was one of the cruxes of my pitch, that there was going to be a love story. Head writer Michael Waldron explains to Marvel.com. We went back and forth for a little bit about, do we really want to have this guy fall in love with another version of himself? Is that too crazy? But in a series that, to me, is ultimately about self-love, self-reflection, and forgiving yourself, it just felt right that would be Loki's first real love story.
Even if it's about self-love, self-reflection, and forgiving yourself, you don't have to physically love another fucking version of yourself. You don't have to do any of that. Self-love is about loving yourself purely on who you are and trying to deal with inner demons, your inner self, understanding who you are. Self-reflection is reflecting on past deeds that you have done. How do you feel about them? How you can get through them? How you may be able to apologize for them or feel sorry for them or regret for them and move past that. And forgiving yourself goes into forgiving you and things you've done. Really looking inwards and forgiving yourself and saying, listen, I'm a flawed human being. I have learned to forgive myself. Can others learn to forgive me as well? Probably not. Which is Loki's first thought. They can't forgive me. I've done so much fucking horrible things. But he's done them out of the name of only knowing what he can do with chaos. And then, that's basically it. Oh, why not let Loki love a real life version of himself? Why would you let him love a version of himself if it's about him forgiving him? not him forgiving a different version of him from another world loving himself. Don't put these into actual forms. And also, I feel like this is still incest. I feel like this is a market of incest somewhere. It's like, oh, Loki loves himself. Yeah, Loki loves a version of himself, and he's also forgiving himself, but also kissing himself. Nigga, no, it doesn't make sense. Don't make it make sense. Don't make it make sense. And now there's gonna be like rule 30 fucking 4 of this shit. I feel like if you want a character to really forgive themselves, they have to go on the spiritual journey. Loki right now is on the journey to actually fucking forgive himself. He's on the journey to move forward and say, listen, I think I can actually be a good person. I'm a dickhead. My methods are fucking crazy, but I think I can be a good person. Maybe I can act a fool sometimes because that's my human nature. And is it hard to change a god who's lived like 5,000 fucking years? Yeah, he's stuck in his ways. And if I've learned, if people are old niggas on the block, or fucking gang niggas, hood niggas, dumbass people, if they are stuck in their ways and ignorance, no amount of your education and your upbringing, everything you are, can help them. Nothing that you can say can change people because they are stuck in their ignorant, pathetic ways. They're living on the block, or they're using the fucking system, and they just don't know what else to do. That is someone stuck in their ways. And Loki being as old and as mischief as it is, and him wanting his father's love and approval, his father already loved him and cared about him. So look, I love and care about you even if you're doing all this crazy dastardly shit. You're still a fucking child. I have more on you than you can ever imagine, and that's just it. But I still care about you because I raised you as my fucking own. Now Loki has to come to terms with loving himself, realizing he's the reason that he killed his mother, and so on and so on. He has to physically, mentally, and verbally commit that to himself, not actually make out or be with a physical version of himself from a different fucking dimension. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
Loki and Sylvie's love story has an apocalyptic beginning, since that's where the two first begin to bond.
God.
Trapped on a moon on the verge of total destruction, the two are forced to work together to find a way out of this situation, only to have it completely fail before their eyes. Feeling defeated, Sylvie wonders if Lokis are always destined to lose.
Aren't they? Aren't you destined to lose somehow? Like, what are you trying to win? What are you trying to do? She basically, Sylvie, and if you haven't seen episode 3 or episode 2 or episode 3, I don't know where the fuck you at. But like I told you, wait for the episodes that drops. I may go into spoilers. Sylvie is the other Loki, right? Which also Sylvie, and if you change it around, it could spell Loki in a different form. But in reality, you can't take every loss and every L and not turn it into a W. Yeah, I seen episode 3. I don't want them to have a love story in a fucking apocalyptic fucking moon. Why? Why does this make the world in itself and everything behind it and in front of it better, bigger, better? Why does this type of love and this type of story go so far? It shouldn't. Because they're losers doesn't mean they should fall in love with each other. They're losers in their own dimensions just because that's how the story goes out. You're in a different story with different writers that will make the losers have to still win somehow. Loki's winning. He's winning, and the people wants to see the fucking character get his own show. You know, I've waited for this show, and all it was just a couple of fucking letters, and now it's here, and I still feel like, surreal. Every Marvel shit that comes out is always surreal to get. The love story between them, I don't care about it. And I don't care for Marvel to just kind of throw these characters, oh, they have a love story. Why? That's stupid. Like, she's Loki. It's basically him jacking himself off. Like, get over it. And we're moving further into the article. Now, I respect the fact that they're trying to give both of them character development, but I feel like it's being wasted, you know?
Loki reassures her that while they might lose, they don't die, they survive. He goes on to call Sylvie amazing for how she almost took down the Tva on her own, and it's clear from the look on his face that even though they've only been together a short while, Loki's already come to admire and respect her. As the moon literally crumbles around them, Sylvie places a hand on Loki's arm, and that's when it happens. A branch on the sacred timeline. These two Lokis are having a moment they were never supposed to have, which, as Mobius puts it, is pure chaos.
But what we have here is an adamant respect for her almost taking down the TVA. And I can respect that in any form, because Loki's like, I want to take down the TVA and fucking find out who Time Lords are. And I respect that on a huge amount. But he respects her because, yo, you went this far. I could never come this far, or I could have because we're the same fucking person. If you would have thought of it earlier, oh, this is a version of myself. You know, I respect you because I'm you, and you know, that's just how it is. Loki, at the end of the day, is very arrogant, self-centered. He loves himself, not to this extent. And the fact that she puts her hand on his shoulder and gives her that reassurance, like, yo, thanks, man. You know, like, it's like a brotherly, like, yo, don't make it a romantic, sexual tension type of shit. People don't want that. Nigga, I don't want that. The moment Mobius says it's basically chaos in its purest form, that's fine. But all of this is just more of like, it's a buildup. It's not leading to the next thing of a whole relationship and bebes. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to chill.
The look that they share, that moment, a blossoming friendship, continues Waldron. Then for the first time, they both feel that twinge of, oh, could this be something more? What is this I'm feeling? These are two beings of pure chaos that are the same person falling in love with one another. That's a straight up and down branch, and exactly the sort of thing that would terrify the fuck.
It's you loving yourself. That's what makes it terrifying. But also, it's two physical, actual, separate beings. And also, they're a man and a woman. Oh, I have a dick. You have a vagina. I think we should put them together sometimes, let alone, I don't know if Loki's been, they said they've been with physical people, but have they really been with each other? Huh? Is that it? Oh, let's make Loki make love to himself and intense stare at him like, are you for real? This is supposed to be one of those moments. This is supposed to be that moment where Loki's like, yeah, let's get it on. Like, play some Marvin Gaye. Like, no, like, I respect it to its degree. Even though they look at each other and they feel something, it's their human nature or godly nature, whatever the fuck it is. But there shouldn't be anything else physical. Chill, man, chill. Just focus on the TVA story and Tom Hiddleston Loki not trying to fuck himself. Jesus, what's wrong with you people?
Thankfully, this branch also leads to the two variants being located on Lamentus 1. Unfortunately, their rescue leads to them immediately thrown into captivity at Bitva.
Oh, thank God.
But what happened on Lamentus 1 clearly affects both of them in different ways, with Loki slowly coming to grips with the fact that he does have feelings for Sylvie, even though she's difficult, irritating, and tries to hit all the time.
She's basically Loki. Like, everything there is basically himself personified into a different form. She's difficult. Tom Hiddleston's Loki's been difficult from Sylvie. Oh, she tries to hit all the time. Obviously, she doesn't know the first thing about diplomacy the way he kind of does or doesn't, or just, you know, tricks people, whatever. Right? Trickster style. But maybe that's her plan. Her plan is to make you fall in love with her, right? And this is Loki always be, I'm a planner, I'm thinking ahead of myself, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's always the areas or the gray areas that he steps into. He always steps into those areas that makes you wonder, is this a trap? Is this a plan? It shouldn't be romantic. Like, for real, bro, this just sounds corny. Stop, man, stop. Like, I don't know why I keep trying to make this not make sense. It just don't. It makes sense on the spectrum of, hey, if he has to love himself, why don't we just have another version of himself to love? That's not really loving himself. He's loving her as a different person. He's able to analyze her as a different person from himself. And we've already seen that they're two different people. Even that they're both named Loki don't mean shit. We've seen that. And I'm kind of upset that the way they're making it seem is like they're the same person. Which they are in name only, but they've been raised and grow up differently. You know what I mean? Powers are different. Looks are different. Clothing is different. Way of trying to fight is different. They're different people. They're almost the same in nature, destruction, and in planning and thinking ahead of most of the stuff they're doing. She thinks ahead. Fucking Loki's Tom Hiddleston doesn't. Sylvie, she does. She thinks ahead, strategy after strategy, click after click. Loki just kind of goes with the flow a lot. Like, Tom Hiddleston's Loki goes with the flow a lot. For real. Let's get into the rest.
This is only made more pronounced after Loki finds himself trapped in a time loop with Lady Sif back on his guard shortly following his past self committing a cruel prank and cutting off her hair. Sif not only beats him up, but tells him many times, you deserve to be alone and you always will be. For the first time, Loki realizes he doesn't want to be alone, and that there might be someone out there for him, who he can connect with on another level.
I respect that we get a little flashback of a loop of Lady Sif beating his ass and telling him he should be alone. Because girls say shit when they're angry. Especially, don't cut a girl's hair, nigga. But I think Loki liked Lady Sif, right? It's one of those moments, oh, I like you. Like, he liked her. Like, boys would do some shit like that because they like someone. And Loki doing that to Lady Sif, he liked her. That's what boys do. They're rambunctious, they hit, they fucking attack people. It's what kids do. Like, he's like a fucking kid. I'm gonna cut off a piece of your hair and you're gonna chase me and beat me up, but I also like you. And she's gonna say some mean shit. That's respectable. It's kind of what kids do. And the fact that he flashes to that and thinks about, like, am I always gonna be alone? Like, am I never gonna have anyone by my side to rule with me? And in reality, I feel like you had family that were there for you. Did they lift you up? Did they encourage you? Did you find love like your brother did in Jane Foster, and then she left him and then he's like traveling in space? Probably not. I feel like the one thing about this character is he can be loved if he actually sits down and loves himself and realizes, you know what, being alone ain't bad. And look, from a guy who's always alone most of the time or with friends, you realize being alone helps you in solace and really confides in yourself to know who you are. When the pressure is on, all you got is you. And then when things are going good, you got everybody around you. But everyone lives their own lives separately from you. But when the pressure is on, and Loki should know this, when the pressure and the loneliness kicks in, all you got is yourself. And sometimes he agrees with that. But then he has to fall into, you know what, I do need help. And the show is about help from different Lokis, but also help from yourself mentally and physically, right? Him dealing with these things, and then also looking at Sylvie's Loki and saying, you know what, you're an awesome person and we're just the same fucking person but with different background, same way of growing up, different abilities, different this, I'm a guy, you're a girl, but you know what, we have everything in common and we live this world together. Let's cut things up. I fucking love that type of idea, like as a friendship, like me, myself, and I type shit, but for Loki in real life. Let's continue.
Even more so than Loki just realizing he is capable of loving someone other than himself, Loki willing to accept himself and all his flaws. I don't think Loki's relationship with himself has been very healthy, Tom Hiddleston explains. Trying to accept those aspects of himself, which he's been on the run from, was a way of thinking about that in a really interesting way. Also, Sylvie's not Loki. Sylvie is Sylvie. That's interesting, too. I'm really excited to see what people make.
Even if Sylvie is not Loki, but she is Loki. At the end of it, she is Loki. I don't understand. Sylvie is not Loki. She's Sylvie. I'm like, no, she's fucking Loki. Different powers, different power set. Shit glows green. She got fucking swords that come out of nowhere or whatever. She's Loki, my nigga. She's Loki. And yes, you can say the relationship with himself isn't healthy. And that's true. It hasn't been. But has he really had time to sit down and think and reflect on what he's done? The only time you could say he's done that is in Asgard's prison, which I think is the place where you can say he sat down and had enough time to reflect and be broken. A prison, a fucking prison, is the only time he's had time to reflect and be broken. And then be mad at himself for killing his mother, and then also take revenge on for the damn demon who killed his mom. So you gotta respect the fact that his relationship with himself is unhealthy, but he has never sat down and really dealt with himself. Not a different version of himself that's Sylvie, or Sylvie's not him, but she still is, and you can't change that just by wording it like, I'm not you, I'm Sylvie. Like, the fuck out of here with that dumb shit, nigga. It makes sense to put the character in love with himself. It sounds weird, but also it makes better sense to take the character on the spiritual and mental and physical journey of understanding himself. He shouldn't be in falling in love with himself. He should be analyzing who other versions of himself is and see the mirror reflections of their ideas, their thinkings, the way they move onto him. And have Tom Hiddleston's Loki sit down and say, you know what? Even though me and Sylvia are both from different worlds, I do care about her. Not in a physical way, but as a friend way. And she is me, so I care about myself. And you know what? I care about the rest of these other Lokis, or whoever other Lokis show up. He cares about their thinking, their ideas, their passions, their energies. He sees where they're going. So you can't fucking deny that, hey, this is lit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that makes more sense to me because you're able to analyze the story and you're able to take it to the next level of analyzation and still looking inwards. He's looking outwards still to another being who is not him, as you say, but they're falling in love, like, on the dance floor tonight. It just makes it more complicated to say that and then saying he's falling in love with a version of himself. He should be falling in love with who he is, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, not falling in love with the manifestation of a different version of himself. He should be reflecting on them. Let's continue.
As Mobius notes, it might just be a case of extreme narcissism, but it also makes complete sense for the character. Who's a better match for Loki than himself? Director Kate Herron chimes in. The whole show is about identity. It's about him. And he is on a very different path. And he is on a different journey. He sees things in Sylvie that he is like, oh, I've been there. I know what you feel. But she's like, well, I don't feel that way. And I think that was the kind of fun thing about it. She is him, but she's not him. They've had such different life experiences. So just from an identity perspective, it was interesting to dig into that.
Now, I like what Mobius says. It's extreme narcissism, but they wrote that in for the character. Loki loving himself is kind of something he would do. She's not him. Yeah, I already mentioned this. They're not each other. They're different beings, but also you're just gonna put them together to make the giggity giggity. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Man, you don't get that bullshit out of here. And look, I've said this before, and I keep saying this, and I'm gonna say this through the entire fucking article. You cannot sit these characters down and call it self-love and self-reflection and analyzation with inwards of yourself. Some people take this differently, and some people may disagree to agree. You're gotta space this out separately to really analyze a character. This comic book character has been fleshed out in the comics more than he has in his damn TV show. The TV show makes it seem that he's more fleshed out, but it's kind of like he's one-dimensional still. Because they're still one-dimensional, even in the comics. But Loki in the comics, even newer versions, has been fleshed out to the point where you're like, you know what, you can have a conversation and fuck with this a lot. I feel like there's more here than ever, depending on what's happening with the character. Don't just lump these two together because it's boy and girl. The fuck out of here. Just put them as characters side by side to see what he analyzed her and sees himself. She's looked at him and been like, whoa, that's different. You know what I'm saying? Because he's had the life experiences and the growth. He's been defeated, but he's been humbled and finally defeated by, like, the group of the Avengers, right? His brother, more than fucking once. So, he has to be humble. He's not. He's still narcissistic and a jackass. And loving himself just continues that repetition. He's loving himself, but is he really loving her? Could be loving her, or loving the version of him. Now that's just still being an asshole. That's still having more pride. And pride is the hugest thing here. Every time Loki gets their prides hurt, they just feel like, I'm pissed, you know? But what's next?
When Loki meets Sylvie, he's inspired solely by curiosity, reveals Hiddleston. He wants to talk to her and understand her and try to discern what was similar about their experiences, and what was different. He keeps asking her questions, because he wants to see if his experience was also her experience. I think he realizes, and she realizes, that while they're the same, they're not the same.
Because she's a woman, he's a guy, she's lived differently from his life. Yes, she can't transform into men like women or men like he can, but her life and her abilities are different. You see her power set is more different than his because that's the way she was trained and grown up. His abilities are more different because he was trained and he grew up differently where his mother was a witch, you know? And the reflection of that her relationship with family, his relationship with family. Her relationship with family could be very, very fucking distant than his. His relationship with his family is kind of 50-50. Like, he loves and hates his family at the same time and wants to be, like, daddy accepted and daddy issues and mommy and daddy, like, brother, love me, you know? Accept me and I want to be king. Just give me the fucking king. No, you don't deserve. You're a child. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not a child. Fuck out of here. But you are, you know? And now, separately, that he's looking at her like, hey, did your dad ever call you a fucking child? Or are you a rambunctious, 5,000-year-old child? Probably, yeah. Just because that's the seam of it, you know? Is he seeing himself? Yeah, he's seeing himself, but he's also trying to see the version of himself. he's trying to get past that and see her as an individual. Yeah, they live 2 different lives, and he knows that. That's why he kept probing in episode 3, asking so many fucking questions. Goddamn. I know this already. Everything I said, this article has said it times 10. Because I've said it times 10.
Heron was careful setting up this relationship. It was just about giving it the space to breathe and digging into it in a way that felt earned, she explains. Considering partnerships are 50-50, credit has to be paid to Sophia Di Martino, taking on the role of Sylvie and becoming someone who can match Loki's own energy and chaos. I think something that Sophia captured really beautifully is that she's in a different space, continues Heron. She's almost where Loki was in Thor in some ways, where she's dealing with a lot of pain, for different reasons, obviously. It was really interesting having her in a different headspace of a different Loki. As we were cutting it together in the studio, everyone was, "Oh, this is really cool. Let's dig into that more," shares Heron. When we went back to filming, we added our tweet scripts basically to...
I'm not gonna lie to you. And if I lied to y'all, I'd be lying to y'all about this. She can't stand near Tom Hiddleston. Also, she got some big ass feet. I'm just saying, no. Man, look at them big ass feet. But she can't stand near Tom Hiddleston. As an actress, she's not even on par with Owen Wilson, who has more on her. I haven't even seen her in anything else. The fact that they think this is a character that you're gonna fuck with and love and respect and care about, and I don't even like this character. I actually see her more as a nuisance. This, he's the man. All I need, bro, yeah, that's perfect. That's all I need is this, bro. I don't need this. I need this, okay? I need to know this Loki. I don't give a fuck about Sylvie. Oh my god, Sylvie. No. Even though she's acting and the acting is okay, she feels like another world of Loki. She don't feel like the same nigga. Which, yes, I know, she's supposed to be different. But still, she can't stand near Tom. She can't. She can try, but she fails. And that's usually it. Sylvie is Sylvie. I got that already from the article. He's he. This shouldn't be a thing whatsoever. Like, put a big fat X over it. I ain't fucking with it. But this is what I think. Tell me what you think. If you want to read the article for yourself and analyze things in your own words, check the description below. This is your boy Fat Man. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to hit the bell icon to be notified. And remember to never give up, never surrender, and keep on grinding, and mad fucking love to you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Also, just more Tom Hiddleston. Like, for real, Disney, get this shit together. Disney Plus is kind of getting trashed. Like, this 6-episode shit is garbage. Bye.
Shit. Getting bit on drum. You little niggas gonna stop acting like my shit ain't the grill. Some of you niggas get your front teeth for grills. I ain't talking about the contract.
Ain't loving these fake hoes. Room smelling like 8 switches. Room service like 2K. NBA, I'm ballin', nigga. All the niggas falling like autumn, nigga. Talking shit, I saw them niggas. Now they daughter want a picture. Rough, ain't it? Fuck famous. Niggas too real, got the most haters. Wrote a story so Stephen Curry. How it feel to be golden.